Good afternoon, old gun guy here. Today's video, I'm gonna cover a underrated cartridge and a very popular rifle as deer season is approaching. The combination cartridge we're going to talk about is a 35 Remington. It's been around since 1906, and the rifle is a Marlin 336. This particular example was made in 1977 by the original Marlin company. I'll go into the rifle in a bit, but I'll go into the cartridge first. At this point, I've probably done about 100 videos. I did a three-part series on 3 lever guns in 30-30. One of them being a Marlin 336, my other Marlin 336 in 30-30. I'll try and link it in the description, that video, if you're interested in that. It's basically the same gun. And anything I forget in this video, you're definitely going to find in the 30-30 Marlin video. The other two being a Savage 1899 lever gun, and it was a 1894 Winchester. The cartridge, the 35 Remington, was developed by the original Remington company, which became defunct, I think, in about 2007. Bought out by the Wall Street people. But that's the 35 Remington cartridge they developed in 1906, and it was for their semi-automatic rifles they were coming out with, the Model 8. And there's a video on the Model 8 I did probably 8-9 months ago, my Model 8 in 35 Remington. In case I miss anything on the 35 Remington, you'll find info there also. Remington came out the Model 8 and they had 4 cartridges: a 25 Remington, a 30 Remington, which is essentially a rimless 30-30, 32 Remington, essentially a rimless 32 Winchester Special, and the 35 Remington. The first 3 were in a different cartridge case entirely. The 35 Remington is the unique case of the 4, and it's still in existence today in production by major ammunition manufacturing companies, and it's survived 120 years, just about, well, 119 years, because it is very useful. It's a powerful, moderate range woods cartridge, suitable for big game, elk, moose, deer. It's got a lot more punch and killing power, if you will, than the 30-30. And it's as long as you stay within its parameters, its range parameters, it's a fine cartridge. It's raining out today, so that's why I'm doing this on the porch. The intro. Let's go to the cartridge. It's a low pressure cartridge. It operates at, let's see if I'll compare the 35 Remington to the 3006. 3006, 35 Remington. Let's see, side by side. 35 caliber bullet. The metric designation is 9mm by 49mm. 49mm being the case length, almost 2 inches. 3.5 8/1000 of an inch projectile. The useful bullet weights in normal hunting are 180 to 220. Modest pressure. The SAMI max for this cartridge is 33,500 psi, and that's less like a 357 Magnum or other, like a 10mm high intensity pistol cartridges. Modest recoil, moderate power, suitable for, in this format with the big blunt round nose bullets, out to about 150 yards. Your shot should be kept within 150 yards. With the newer, I have some Hornady here, FTX, the spiral point projectiles, that are safe to put in a tubular magazine because they're a little plastic polymer point. they increased the useful range 50 to 75 yards. So you could stretch it out 200, 225 yards with the 35 Remington. But in its format, it's basically a woods gun. Velocity with a 200 grain projectile is around 2,080 to 2,100 feet per second. The lever revolution Hornady, this stuff sometimes runs a little bit faster. On a box they say 22, 25, but I don't know if they're shooting out of a 24-inch barrel. Because out of a 20-inch barrel, it's around 2,100. In my experience, anyway, every rifle's different. Like I said, a very useful cartridge. A lot more punch than the 30-30 in practical hunting applications. Very popular in the northeastern states, and I believe some of the southeastern states, the 35 Remington. Marlin, the rifle, the 336 and its ancestors, about 4 million have been made. And I'll go into that in a second. But what didn't I cover? Oh, the 35 Remington, if you're a hand loader, you can load 357 pistol projectiles into these cases and use them for plinking or eliminating pests. I wouldn't hunt, anything deal with it. It'd be inhumane. The pistol bullets driven to rifle velocities just explode like little mini hand grenades when they hit something. But two of my hand loads, funny, 125 grain jacketed saw point. Let's see, I wrote it down here somewhere. Max load 43 grains of IMR 3031. You get about 2,550 feet a second out of that, and 158 grain jacketed soft point or jacketed hollow point, whatever you want to use. 357 projectiles, 38 357 projectiles. Alliant, we load a 7. Max charge of 37 grains. So if you consult some of the reloader manuals, you'll find data for that for the 35 Remington, and useful for plinking or a coyote or pest or something. Really effective. The head dimensions on this are non-standard on the 35 Remington. It's about 13 thousandths of an inch smaller than the standard head dimension for the 3006 family of cartridges, which is quite a large family of cartridges based on this case. The 7 and 8mm Mausers, the 308, the 243, 260, 358, I could list them on and on. 473 thousandths is the standard for a 3006 class cartridge, and these are 460 thousandths. So it's a slightly smaller cartridge. Rimless, and feeds well on the Marlin. Now the Marlin, I believe this rifle came out in 1893, based on the patents of a guy named Hepburn, and the Marlin Company, and this is a JM stamped Marlin, the original Marlin Company. It stands for John Marlin. Came out in 1893, and it was a competitor to Winchester 1894, which came out, famous gun. Winchester, the action's open on the top. There's a flat, solid steel top of the receiver, machined ejection port, forged receiver, and it makes mounting the scope obviously far easier than you can on a Winchester 94. I think one of the main pans, he had 2-piece firing pin and a forged bolt, but came out in 30-30 and several other calibers. The gun was made generally with either a 20 or 24-inch barrel. This particular example has a 20-inch barrel. Marlin continued producing them until 1936. They made a few minor upgrades. Another feature is the Marlins over Winchester has a pistol grip stock. The Winchesters have straight stock, and the Marlin had a nice, pistol grip, and the lever is curved to the pistol grip. It became the 36, and then in 1948 they made the final engineering revisions. I think one of their engineers, patented a few other upgrades. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but it became the Model 336. 36 was 1936. They just shortened it to 36, and then their improved version from 48 until present is the 336. Noisy FedEx truck going up the hill. The Marlin company was in existence until about 2007, 2006 or 7. JM Marlin. And it was bought out by the Remington, which was owned at that point by the Wall Street hedge fund, and who bought up a couple of other gun companies, and they basically ruined them. Believe they moved the Marlin machinery, and wherever they set it up, things were off, and 100-year-old machinery making these rifles, and they had quality control problems. I have a Remington-made Marlin. It was made in about 2010. A pistol caliber, 357 it is. I looked out, it functions well, and it looks pretty good. And but that's they did have issues. Remington went bankrupt, and Ruger bought Marlin, and they took their time setting up all the machinery and getting their guns right again. And I've seen a few of them. They've come out first with the 336 and 3030. I believe they're going to soon introduce the 336 and 35 Remington, which is a fine caliber. A lot of rifles have been made in 35 Remington over the years. If Marlin made 4 million 336s or 36s, I don't know what the percentage of 35 Remington is, 10, maybe 20%. So you're talking 800,000 rifles. There were derivatives they use this action on. 444 Marlin, 375 Winchester. But most of the guns you can find are, probably the most prevalent you're going to find are 20-inch barrel carbines. And sometimes you'll find a 24-inch. The gun weighs about, I don't know, 7.5 pounds, 8 pounds, 7.5. It's, I should have weighed it. I did not weigh it. It's really light and handy. This is a plain Jane version, 336. Some of the versions had fancier wood, but that's it. This, let's see. You had the, I'll go over the features. The barrel, 20 inches. Iron sights. Got a little buckhorn in the back. Got a post, a hooded post in the front. It's got a elevation ramp for the iron sights. Flat top forged steel receiver. 20-inch barrel, micro grooved. The micro grooving, Marlin came out with in 1956, and it's basically a bunch of shallower, smaller rifling grooves, as opposed to the traditional 4-groove rifling, cut rifling, button rifling. Their tool made shallower grooves, but a lot more of them. And I think the formula was something like 5 grooves per 1/10 of an inch of bore diameter. So they come out with this in 22. So I guess that would be 10 lands and grooves for 22 caliber roughly. And then this is 35 caliber, 15, 16, 17 or 18 lands and grooves in this barrel. And there was two purposes for that. To form a better gas seal with jacketed bullets, and to save on manufacturing costs with the tooling, Marlin manufacturing rifles. The only downside, they're not real good with lead bullets, because the lead bullets are undersized for the rifling, and you have to, I don't shoot lead bullets for any of these Marlins, but the pistol caliber ones, you could. You just gotta get oversized bullets. The 20-inch barrel's got a full-length magazine tube, holds 6 rounds in the tube. Some of them, and I have an older one, has a half tube, holds 4 rounds. And the magazine tube ends about here. Yeah, nice walnut, you know, 4 stock. Nice walnut pistol grip butt stock. Marlin butt plate. All the original JM, all the Marlin rifles are stamped right here on the upper rear left side of the barrel. JM, you know, John Marlin, where it enters the receiver. This is a pre-safety model. It has no crossbolt safety. The later ones made were, you know, have a crossbolt safety, and some people flip out about that. It doesn't bother me either way, but this one doesn't. You have your original safety, the half cock notch, and then, you know, full cock. You're gonna fire it. This has a shoe on the hammer because it's got a scope on it. This way you can use your thumb to get around the scope. The pistol grip stock, nice pistol grip, you know, plastic cap, little white spacer in there. Forged steel bolt, forged steel receiver. One of the unique things about this lever gun is you can clean it from the breech end because the bolt comes right out the back. It comes out easy. I think I'll do it in the summary, but basically you have to crack the lever about like that. Take that screw out, wiggle the bolt out, wiggle the lever out, and the bolt comes straight out the back. And you gotta make sure you don't lose the ejector. It's a spring-loaded piece of steel in the left side of the receiver. You can't see it here. Side gate loading, King's gate loading, you know, loading port. What else? America's got a love affair with lever guns, you know, from the old west, and they're handy, fun to shoot, and I like all of mine. Because this is a lever gun, you're not going to get tack driver accuracy, and for a number of reasons. One is you get the magazine tube attached to the barrel, and the cartridges in it, as you use them up, the weight changes, and it affects the harmonics of the barrel. So you do get a you know, shift. 3 MOA is about pretty standard for any type of lever hunting gun. In this format, these Marlins or the Winchesters, 3, some are 4. This gun generally shoots 2.5 to 3 MOA, which is plenty fine for hunting out to 200 yards. I have see-through rings on this model here, so they're elevated, and you can see the iron sights. You know, classic wood setup. This is a very old Redfield scope, 4 power, duplex. It's as old as the gun. Gun I bought used maybe 10 years ago. Again, guns go out of favor. This thing was sitting on the used gun rack. On the, I think it was at a gun show, you know, used gun rack. And everybody's into the black rifles. No one wanted this stuff. And I think I paid $350 for this as it sits back then. You know, you see prices all over the place. But if nothing sells, it's supply and demand. You know, you get the cash, and I think they won't even ask. They were asking like $450. I got it for $350. They just want to get rid of it. They had like, you know, 4 of them. But it was a nice shape, and came with the scope. It came with, just as you see it, hunting setup. And all right, camera unexpectedly cut off there, but after that 72 without the letter prefixes, the formula was the first 2 digits of the serial number. You subtract from 100, and that's the year it was manufactured. And the first 2 digits of this are 23, so it was manufactured in 1977, so it's 48 years old. I'm going to do my shooting demonstrations. I'll do an accuracy target 100 yards. I'm going to shoot, because ammo's expensive, 3 shots of each. The Hornady FTX, it's both 200 grain projectiles, and the I got Remington core lock. It's actually some old stuff. The price on a box was 30 bucks at the time, so it's got to be 5-6 years ago. Because now you look for 35 Remingtons, $50 a box. It helps the hand load if you're gonna hand load. I do have projectiles. I gotta load some 35 Remington. The trigger pull is about 6 3/4 pounds. I got the gauge here. cock the hammer. Yeah, 6 3/4. Not bad. Not a sniper rifle. You know, it's a nice deer rifle. You're gonna find these in houses all across America. Well, maybe not out west, but depending on what kind of a hunt you do. If you're in a heavy forest, handy rifle. I'm gonna do my 100-yard accuracy target. I'm gonna do comparative recoil. When I do that, I'll do the ballistic pendulums at the same time. One camera on the, this is just way to save ammo. One plate will get hit with a 223. The other one will get hit with a 35 Remington. Probably use the core lock there. And comparative recoil. Recoil is very mild on this 35 Remington. You know, even a young shooter, you know, easily handle this gun effectively. I'll do a thermal effects test. I use again the 200 grain core lock. See how that works. I think in my earlier video with one of the 35 Remingtons, I did it on a Model 8 and a 141 Game Master on my other rifles, but one's a pump and one's a semi-auto. I believe I used, maybe for the Game Master, I think I used this, but I have to go back to it. If I can put the links in the description, I'll link it to them, to the 3030 video. But the Remington Model 8, you know, I also went heavy into the 35 Remington. I'll shoot some plates offhand at you know, distance in the yard, and that'll be a shooting portion. I'll come back for the summary. Maybe I'll disassemble it real quick to show you how easy it breaks down. It really is not that hard. You know, for basic maintenance and cleaning, you can pretty much get into the receiver and clean everything out there. And come back to summary. So I'll get to that now. Okay, going to do our accuracy test for our 48-year-old Marlin 336 and 35 Remington. I'm just going to do two 3-shot groups. The first 3 shots will be this Remington core lock, 200 grain round nose saw point, and the next 3 at the bottom aiming point will be these Hornady 200 grain FTX, the streamline projectiles. Spitzer. I got my chronograph running over here. I got the other camera on it, and that's running. The guns is just loaded 6 shots. The first 3 that will be fired will be the Remington, and then the front of the magazine has the Hornady. So we're going to go with the top aiming point. It was 2,044. $2,090. And this is the last for the Remington. Now, the next 3 are the Hornady at the bottom aiming point. It was 2,062, that last shot. $2,102. That was the Hornady. 2,129. $2,113. All right. I'm gonna shut the camera off. Shut the chronograph off and go check it out. $2,090. And this is the last for the Remington. Now, the next three are the Hornady at the bottom aiming point. That was 2,062, that last shot. It was 2,102. That was a Hornady. $2,129. $2,113. Okay, back from the 100-yard target. The 200 grain Remington core lock, the round nose soft point lead, exactly a 3-inch group, 3 MOA. Two pretty close and one flyer. They all felt good when the trigger broke, so I'm gonna say that's the group. The Hornady 200 grain FTX bottom group, 2.600 inches on a caliper. Just a hair over 2.5 MOA, and that's pretty good out of a lever gun. That's what you can expect. 3 MOA, 2.5, 3 MOA, which translates to really a maximum hunting range of about 200 yards, because 3 MOA is 6 inches at 200 yards. With the core lock, I keep my shots 150 yards or less. You can stretch it out to 200 with the Hornady. It's actually flatter shooting. It's easier to hit at distance. But that'll be it for the 100-yard accuracy target test demonstration. I'll do some steel plates and at distance, and we'll go on to the next test. Okay, thermal effects target. I'm going to use one shot of 200 grain Remington core lock around those soft point. Fresh piece of plywood. I got off the side to try and save it. First jug, second jug, third jug. I got 2 jugs in the back, so 24 inches of water. A sheet of 3/4 inch ply between them. Try and capture the projectile. First jug, 3/4 inch, simulates heavy bone. Second jug, again simulates heavy bone. Third jug, hopefully you catch the slug. Trying to get this in before the rain starts. So let me pause this. I got my slow motion camera working, but I'm going to put it back on an angle and zoom in on it. This way it stays out of the blast of the water, and we'll see what happens. Okay, the other camera's running. I'm going to take the shot. I think, try and angle this so you can see both. I'll take the shot. Let's see what we shall see. I'll probably get dosed. Yes, I got dosed. Let me pour. Okay, back for an autopsy on a thermal effect target. Good result. This is jug 1. Went in there, vaporized the jug. I got dosed with that. First sheet of 3/4 inch ply is a fresh piece. There's the entrance. There's the exit. That simulates heavy bone. Second jug. Went in here, split the whole jug apart, ripped out the back. Went through the second piece of plywood. This was shot with number 3 buckshot from the 870 video. This is the entrance right here. The bullet completely exited, even though the wood folded back on itself. And the third jug was struck here, and the bullet was in the bottom of this jug. Mushroom nicely, held together. I'll have to measure that for the summary. You see the rifle marks on it, but it appears intact. I imagine it retained most of its weight. That would be a very good result for game bullet, bear, moose, elk, within its range limits. Deer, mule deer. It's got a lot of striking power. I'm going to clean this mess up and go on to the next test. Okay, do my killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to do the comparative recoil test. 223 Savage Axis, 55 grain FMJ, 200 grain Remington core lock, 35 Remington, round nose. Center plate, I'll try not to hit the hole in the center plate, the 223. And the right plate will be the 35 Remington. The other camera's running. Put my ears on, take the shot. That was the 223. And there's almost no felt recoil at a 223 Savage, and there's going to be very little felt out of this. But 35 Remington, right plate. Ooh, almost flipped it around. And modest recoil. Don't want to lose the brass. Modest recoil, a lot more energy really dancing the plate around down there. That'll be it for this demo. I think I'll do some, get a different camera, do some offhand shooting at the plates. And that should wrap up our little shooting demos with our fine Marlin 336, 1977 vintage. Fine duplex, red field, 4X scope. Classic hunting setup. I got 5 shots in the gun. I'm using a Hornady because I'm going to try and take a stab at the 220 yard plates, 200 yards from here. But I'll go 50, 100, and see if I can take the 200. Ammo's expensive, but just show you what we can expect out of a Marlin 336 and 35 Remington. I think first up the torso at 50. And I'm going to try the 100 yard plate. Hit the plate, but I was a little low, and that was me. I'm going to take a stab at the 220. You know what? Let's do the 150 first. Missed it. Shot over it. If I was shooting a game out at distance, I'd either be kneeling or resting, have a platform against a tree. Let's see if I can hit the 200. I think I went over that too. Try it one more time. Just over to the right. So that'll be it for our little offhand shooting demonstration. It was a little too shaky to hit the 200, and the visibility is kind of, there's a rain and fog here in this ancient scope. But that's all me. It's my excuse book. Handy, fun little rifle, and a very good deer getter. So I think that'll be it for the shooting demos. Like I said, 35 Remington's real expensive. About 50 bucks a box now. These cases, obviously I'll collect them and reload them. But on to, I believe, the summary. I think first up the torso at 50. And I'm going to try the 100 yard plate. Hit the plate, but I was a little low, and that was me. I'm going to take a stab at the 220. Oh, missed it. Shot over it. If I was shooting a game out at distance, I'd either be kneeling or resting, have a platform against a tree. Let's see if I can hit the 200. I think I went over that too. Just over to the right. So, okay, I only have 3 Hornadies left. So as not to embarrass the 35 Remington, I'm gonna shoot off the bench here and shoot at 220 and 150 and show you it's perfectly capable of hitting out there, especially with these. I was just a little too shaky offhand today. Sometimes, some days it be like that. Some days you eat the bear, some days the bear eats you. I get the long range camera focused on the 150 and the 220 yard plates, so. I think I'll do the 150 first. Money. Now I'll jump up to the 220. $220. Do it once more. As soon as the plate stops swinging, it imparts a lot of energy out there at 220 yards. And tagged it again. So, despite my poor offhand shooting today, the 35 Remington is a cable cartridge out to 220 yards. Off a log rest or on a kneeling position, or having the stock, four stock pinned against a tree as a rest, no problem taking on a 250 yard shot, 250 to 200 yard shots with the lever evolution. Oh, there goes my case. I gotta go pick that up. That'll be it for the shooting portion. I think I'll do the 150 first. I'll jump up to the 220. $220. Do it once more. As soon as the plate stops swinging, it imparts a lot of energy out there at 220 yards. And tagged it again. So, okay, I'm back from my summary on our very fine woods rifle here, Marlin 336 and 35 Remington. Nearly 4 million 336 has been made, and there's no records on how many in 35 Remington, but I'm just being conservative, saying 20% of them. And you're talking approaching 1 million rifles then, 800,000. Went through the shooting demonstration, the chronograph. Did 3 shots, 3 of the Hornady FTX lever revolution, the spire pointed projectiles you can load in a tubular magazine because they have a polymer tip. They're ballistically pretty flat shooting compared to the round nose 35 Remington. I didn't split the sessions up, so I had to manually do the math, but the Hornady FTX, the velocity for the 3 shots would average 2,122 feet a second, and that translated to 2,000 foot-pounds of energy. The Remington core locked, the 200 grain jacketed round nose exposed lead tip. Velocity averaged 2,065 feet a second, and the energy was 1,894 foot-pounds of energy. Did the accuracy target 100 yards off the bench. 2 aiming points, again 3 shots apiece. The chronograph was actually done at the same time as the accuracy target. it actually kills 2 birds with 1 stone, so which makes life easier. The top target here, 3-inch group, 3 MOA. That's about typical for a lever gun. This was the Remington 200 grain core locked round nose, and then the bottom 2.60 inches, just a little over 2.5 inches group here. Yeah, these two are pretty close. You know, one off. They're all, I guess, in a 9 grain there, but perfectly acceptable accuracy for a lever action deer rifle. Due to the way they're constructed, they're never going to be a tack driver like a bolt action will be. You get changing weights impacting, you know, the ammunition in the magazine tube attached to the barrel, throwing off the barrel harmonics every shot. And get into the weeds with that. It's a light recoiling, modest powered cartridge. You can take most game in North America with it. Deer, elk, moose. At short range, it's short to not even intermediate range. With the round nose projectiles, I would keep my shots no further than 150 yards. With the 200 grain Hornady core lock, it does fly flatter. You get, make decent shots out to about 200, 225 yards. That would be my limit with that, because the accuracy limitations of the rifle and then the shooter and the different variables. You don't want to wound an animal. It deserves a clean kill when you're hunting. Did the comparative recoil test camera on me. At the same time, I had the other camera on the pendulums. So killing 2 birds with 1 stone because the ammo's expensive. 223 out of a Savage Axis bolt action rifle. There's no felt recoil, to me anyway, out of that gun. And the energy imparted to the ballistic pendulums, the 8-inch steel plates. Center plate was the 223, the right plate was the 200 grain Remington core lock. Just really smacks the plate. Imparts a lot of energy. Very modest recoil. The most recoil you're going to feel off of any rifle is a let me pause this damn telemarketers. Yep, I have to stitch that together. Stupid telemarketers. Lost my train of thought. Velocity, chronograph, accuracy test, ballistic pendulums. One note, in the some of the clips you hear shooting in the distance, that's not anybody on my property. It's my neighbor down the road, and that's one of the advantages of living in the country. The DO fan shooting, I was a little shaky today. I couldn't take a, plate at 200 or 150. 50 and 100, no problem. That was on me. So I had 3 more shots left of the Hornady, so I just benched it and filmed that to show you that the rifle does indeed, can smack them at 150, 200 yards, no problem. Some days you're steady, some days you're not. I was a little unsteady today. What else did he do? Thermal effects test. Very good result there. 6-inch jug of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulates heavy bone. Another 6 inches of water, another 3/4 inch piece of plywood, another jug of water, 6 inches, 2 more pieces of plywood, and more jugs behind it. So 24 inches of water if it was on a straight line. Vaporized the first jug. I guess it began expanding. Blew a nice big hole through the first clean sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. Into the second jug, shredded that. Went through the second 3/4 inch piece of plywood, which is a very good result. It's like 2 big shoulder bones on a game animal. It'd be effective. Into the third jug where I recovered the slug. I stuck it on this 35 Remington case. It's a little easier to see, but I've measured and weighed it. It comes out to just about as wide as point, 61 caliber, 610 thousandths of an inch, mushroomed. The original weight was 200 grains. I weighed it. The retained weight is 167 grains. That translates to 83.5% retained weight. And that's a good result. And Corlac is good ammo. It's not, premium ammo. It's ammo you're likely to find in a Walmart, and but it'll get the job done. And nice mushroomed result. Like I said in the introduction, I made over 100 videos to this point, so I'm going to put the link for the 336 3030 in there in case there was something I missed addressing that. A lot of stuff rattling around in the brain there. Sometimes I forget, I get sidetracked. I just do this on the fly. I'm not sitting here with a script or anything. And I'll put the Remington Model 8, because I think I went in depth on the 35 Remington, but maybe not. I'll put the two in the description if I can. Dig them up. And what can we say about this Marlin? There's many around. You're likely to find one, used. Remington, Ruger, who now owns Marlin, has reconstituted Marlin, and they've done a good job. From the few rifles I handled that were brand new, they look every bit as the quality of these older ones from JM, and that's a good thing, because these Marlins are classic rifles, good rifles, very utilitarian rifles. I think Henry makes their lever gun, the side gate loading lever gun, in 35 Remington also. I'm not aware if anybody else, Thompson Center, I'm sure, has rifle and pistol barrels in 35 Remington. It's a useful cartridge. That's why I survived almost 120 years. Gets the job done, and it doesn't have a lot of blast or punishment to the shooter. Young shooters or small statured shooters can easily handle this gun. It's not overly heavy. It's kind of handy because it's easy to walk in the woods with, and it's a enduring classic. They keep making them. These are, everything comes into favor and goes out of favor. For a while, they were all the rage. JM Marlins, the prices all shot up. I think that'll settle down again, because everything goes in fads. People, when I bought this thing, everyone wanted ARs and they wanted nothing else. And any deal that had traditional guns on it for sale, they weren't selling them, and you could get many good deals on many good guns. That'll happen again. It goes in cycles. That's just the way it is, the way of the business of firearms. I think I said I'd pull this apart real quick. And I'll do it because I'm on this table here, so I don't lose anything. But basically, you got a screw here in the lever. You're gonna break this down. That's all you really got to remove to take the gun apart. And clean it from the breech. Get yourself a gunsmith screwdriver, and this way you don't bung the screw up. The screw comes out of the lever. Put that there so I don't lose it. This has been apart before. The lever slides right out the bottom, and the bolt comes out the rear. And one thing you gotta watch, the ejector is a spring-loaded piece of sheet steel in the left side of the receiver. It's in there. If you jiggle it out, it ain't really hard to put back in. It sits in a little slot there. There's the bolt. Round cylindrical steel, very well made, forged. It's a non-standard bolt face. It's smaller than the 06, but as the 35 Remington in the bolt. But to clean it, you can clean it from the breech end so you don't mess up the muzzle. And you can get in there for most things. You can take the trigger group out and a side loading gate. You really don't need that to clean it under normal circumstance, unless you fall in a giant mud puddle or drop the gun in a swamp or something. But Make sure the extractor's right. Put the bolt back in. Gotta push the hammer down as it interferes with the bolt slightly. Yeah, and I knocked the ejector out of place. So rather than make the video long, I'll put that back in, take my glasses off, but put the gun back together. Basically, put the bolt back in, make sure the ejector's in its little slot there. If you twist the bolt a little, you'll knock it out of its slot, and you gotta put it in, get little tweezers and put it in and line it up. Put the lever handle back into the bottom side of the bolt, like a 45-degree angle. Put the screw back in the lever, and that's it. I think that's all I got. I think I covered everything, and that'll be my Marlin 336 and 35 Remington video. And everyone have a good night. I'm Old Gun Guy, and have a good evening.